YouTube. Video here. This is the Prusa i3 Mark III, and this is the X carriage backplate. The issue that people are having with this is the fact that you cannot get to the X carriage belt to do any alterations to, say, for instance, if you've got the tension too great or too little. There's no real way of altering it once you've got this backplate on. So what we're going to do today is, there's a guy on Thingiverse, he goes under the name of MK3 and he has designed a backplate that now gives you access to those belts. It never ceases to amaze me how quickly people come up with these things. So it looks like, just bring it into shot, it looks like that. As you can see, it's got the holes there that give you access to the back, to the belts. I printed this using Filamentum ABS. If you look at the settings he's put on his on the Thingiverse page, it points out exactly how to do it. It's very straightforward. The settings, you just need a little bit of an elephant's foot on, so when it's doing the holes for the screws, you don't have any issues there. But it's printed very well. Very pleased with the print. It's the first bit of ABS I've printed. I've just been using the silver PLA up till this point. I don't expect this to be the easiest thing to do, because of course there's going to be issues with cabling, but we're going to do our best to, sort it out and get this swapped over and see how much better it is. It's possibly also going to help with the squeaking that some people have had, through the fact that I can't actually show you with the camera at this angle, but this belt, when it's pushed on to the belt clip inside here, if you push it all the way back, it means that the pulley that's on this side is forced forward. So the actual metal pulley is pushing against the plastic housing. Let's just see if I can sort of show you. Hang on, you'll have to bear with me. Yeah, this is me at my best again, isn't it? I don't know whether you're even going to be able to see this. If you go around this corner here and you look in there, let's see if I can get it to focus. You can't actually see, but that pulley, focus you stupid thing, pulley is up against this piece of plastic here. So it's not actually, there you are, you see, you can see that. That's not central, which means that some people are getting a bit of a squeak off that. And that they think, and I say think because, it's a matter of conjecture at the moment, that the reason for that is that it's pushed too far forward. Excuse me, I'll wobble you about all over the place. It's pushed too far forward on here. Where it goes in here, that's too far forward. So if you can bring this belt back this way on that holder there, that will then bring the belt more central, and then it will also mean that everything works out better. We'll try that. I mean, I'm not having a major issue, I'll be honest with you. I put a little bit of lubrication in there, and that dealt with it for me. It was a bit squeaky to start with, but it's gone away now. So what we'll do now is we'll get this cable management sorted out, clipped out of the way, and then we'll get on with the job. So of course the first thing to do is to make sure that your machine is powered off. I know it's an easy thing to say, but people forget, and it will cause major issues. And then with a pair of trusty side cutters, we are just going to clip through this 3 cable ties on the top, and we'll remove those. We'll pick those up later, and then we'll unclip the 2 cable ties at the bottom. You'll have to excuse me, I've got wires all over the place here, mainly because I've got the phone on charge, so the battery doesn't go flat while I'm filming. Be careful, of course, when cutting through these, that you don't cut through any of the cables, because that, of course, might cause an issue at a later date. So we'll get those out of the way like that. So now there's no actual written instructions anywhere for how to do this, so it's all a bit guesswork, but you know, this is why we're here. Filament sensor, we'll have to have that cable out because we can see that fits into the new piece. So that's to there. I would imagine we might be able to unwrap this end from here. I mean, you've got to be really careful with your cables. The last thing you want to do is to ruin one. Now, I'd also point out, as this is a non-standard part, quite how Prusa, dear Joseph, bless him, would be about warranties and the such. You know, with a non-standard part on the back. I'm not going down that road. It's not for me to say. Now I'm wondering, just looking at the part again, if we need to remove, let's have a look. Yeah, we're going to have to remove this support that's here, this cable support that's here. So that'll be the first thing we undo. Now I can't remember whether the nut that's on the other side of this is going to fall out or not. So we'll soon see. No, that seems to be alright. So we've got that out of the way. So then we've got the 2 screws at the bottom, a screw in the middle, and the 2 screws at the top. So we'll undo those. I mean, like I say, I've not fitted this, so I have this this part. I have absolutely no idea quite how it's going to work. Of course, we've got the other issue, of course, that all these cables are through here, and how are we going to get them out? Well, I have an answer. It might not be everybody's idea of the correct answer, but it's my answer. We're going to cut through it. And the reason why I say that is that we can always print another one, because, you know, Prusa in their infinite wisdom have given us STL files to all these printed parts. So if for some reason I'm not happy with this new piece, I will just print another original back plate, and then I will take all the cables out, feed them all through this hole, and then put them all back in. But I don't really fancy doing that unless I have to. But of course the issue with that is, I've just realised, the issue with that is that that hole there is the same as that hole there. So the cables are all going to have to be fed back through, which means they're all going to have to be undone from inside the board. So I'm going to pause the video now. I'm going to take the side of the case off. I'm going to take all the cables out of the NC board, and then I'm going to come back because I can't see another way of doing it. All those plugs have got to go through that hole. So bear with me, I'll pause the video because you don't want to see me taking all those out, do you? No. Pause the video, I'll get those whipped out and we'll continue in a moment. Right, so here I am back, quick jump cut had. Got those cables out of the NC board. I'll see if I can spin you around to show. There you go, there's a mess that I've made. It's unfortunate, but it's just one of those things, I'm afraid. In this case, it's just got to be done. Let's see if I can get you a bit more level on what I'm doing. There we go. Of course, I haven't bothered removing the one for the sensor at the top, because I can take that one off there and that doesn't go through anyway. So we are going to wrap all this cable stuff back. I haven't undone the ones for the hot end either. I've just left those connected because of course I'm not interfering with those. So I'll get the rest of this cable unwinded and I'll get back to you. Right, so here we are, another jump cut. Sorry about that. Just pulling the last few bits of cable through the mount. I seriously suggest that if you haven't yet built your machine and you've got access to another 3D printer, I seriously suggest that you get this part printed before you build the machine, because as anybody who's built this machine already knows, these cables are a bit of a pain in the arse. I mean, they're not beyond the realms of possibility. I mean, I'm proving that myself by doing this, but they are just a bit of a ball ache. So having the ability to do this before we go any further, I think is a very sensible thing. If you're in that situation, please, please, please make sure you do it before you build it. So first thing we've got to remember, that nut sat into there. So the easiest way I found to get these out is just screw one of your bolts in, and then you can wiggle it and work it out like that. We'll put that part to one side. Hopefully I'll never have to put that on again. We can live in hope. And then we'll insert that. Well, this will test how good the print was, won't it? We'll insert that into there. So, focus, focus. So there's the nut, there's the hole. I'll insert that into there. I might actually just go off camera just to give this a little tweak in with a pair of pliers or something to get it to sit. Other people suggest that you actually thread the screw from the other side and wind it up. In fact, I might even do that. This is actually slightly a better idea than attacking it with a pair of pliers, because you don't know what you're going to damage while nipping it up with pliers. So all you do is you put the bolt on from the other side like that, and you tighten it up. Oh, you get the nut on, of course, that would always help. Can't do these things with the camera in the way. Told you, these videos would be a lot better without a camera in the way. Well, these videos would be a lot better without a camera. So put it in like that, tighten it up. Hopefully if I've got it lined up square, excuse me, that was a Christmas nut. That has pulled the nut into the recess. So you could just do with some decent lighting and a decent camera, a decent production crew and everything else. So I've done that, so that's pulled that nut into there like that. So now I can unscrew that so it's the right way around. So again, I should do that off camera because it's easier and more efficient. And then I will thread the cables back through the hole, and then we'll come back and we'll fit it back on. So after much wailing and gnashing of teeth, those are those cables back through. One thing I would point out is make sure that you've got the orientation of this the right way around before you start pushing the cables through, because if you push them all through and then realise you've got it the wrong way around, you're going to feel a bit of a prat. The other thing I'm going to do is that if you've already built this, you'll know what a pain in the ass this thing is, trying to feed it into the hole when you've already put the back on. So I'm not going to feed it into the hole after I've put the back on. I'm going to feed it into the hole first. So let's just get it. I might just get a pair of pliers on this. My needle nose ones that came with the printer to hand. And we'll just grab hold and give that a push home, and it's not even gone in. Ah, do you know, these things are sent to try us, and try us they do. So I'm going to use my handy flush cutters and I am out of shot. It's really helpful for everybody, isn't it? Cut it fresh. Ah, that's gone in better. Make sure you get that angle nice and tight. Okay, so that's in now, so that's a lot better. Now I'm going to zoom in. Sorry, this camera doesn't do zooming in particularly well. But the issue I was talking about with the belt is this pulley here. and how far back it is. So while I've got the machine in this position, I am going to just slide that belt slightly forward. Now, I suppose the best way of doing this is to take the nuts off the actual stepper motor, loosen those off, which loosens the belt tension, means I can slide it forward and then tighten those 3 nuts up again. So I'm afraid it's another jump cut, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so that's loosened off, which has loosened the belt off, which now means, out with the pliers again, I can just grab hold of this and just pull it forward. I think as long as I've got it flush with the back plate, that's probably more than enough. It's not going to slip off, I don't think. I think it's fairly safe and secure like that, but it should help with that pulley. That's the theory anyway. So just zoom back out again to about there, and we'll fix this black back plate on. So it clearly goes straight on there. We'll just move that up. Look at that, that's a better fit. I'll just move my fingers out of the way. Now you can see you have still got access to those belt pulleys. Just let me tilt the camera and put a zoom in like that. There you are, look. Still got access to those belt pulleys, which is, you know, would have saved all this hassle of doing that to move that pulley then and retension it. That's now done the easy way. So if you have to alter a belt, change a belt, you don't have to take all this wiring off. So I'll tighten the axis motor back up so that puts tension back on the belts. We'll whack those screws back in and job's done. Plug the wires back in, do all the necessary cable work, but that's an end of it. So we'll just tighten that pulley up and we'll pop back. So that's the X-axis motor tightened back up, which has put tension back on the belt. Some people probably say that's too much tension, but at least now I can alter it without taking all the cables out. That's the most important thing. So it's just a matter now of throwing the screws all over the worktop. Get those screws back in. Get the cable guide back in. Get the cable management redone. The plugs back into the NC board and that closed up. And we're good to go. So that's the kit. Like I say, it's a simple thing to print. I printed it on Filamentum ABS using the printer settings that are on the Thingiverse page. Wonderful little customization, this done by JLTX. I'm running out of screws here, aren't I? I'll put a link in the description to that on the Thingiverse page. I think it's a fantastic little thing. Well done, that man. And like I say, it just means now that belt management at the rear is much, much simpler. So if you have any problems with belt tension or anything like that, you can get to it now. So it's just all good. So there we go, finished job. All the cables are back in the control box. Of course, check your online manual to make sure you're putting everything back in the right place. I don't know whether stuff will go in the wrong sockets or not. I doubt it will. But that's it fitted. As you can see, do a bit of a zoom. It still allows access into there. So if you need to change a belt or anything like that, you know, the ability is there now. All the cables are nicely away. Cable management's back on. All I've got left to do is the zip tie around the top of here, which I will do now. And time to power it up. And I'll do a couple of, I'll probably do a test print or a self-test or something and see if it gets that belt moved. And if it does, or even if it doesn't, I'll report back at the end and let you know. So there you go, did a self-test. Everything's worked out fine. I don't know if you can see that in there, but that belt is now much more central on that pulley, which hopefully means the pulley now isn't rubbing against this side here, which was causing the squeaky noise that people were getting. Hopefully, having moved that belt on the back, solve that problem. So just remains for me to say thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment by all means. Anything you would like to see, anything you'd like not to see again. I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Christmas and a prosperous new year. Hope you get everything you want and nothing that you don't want this Christmas. And just remember, a printer is for life, not just for Christmas. But also remember, you do have a family and you may need to spend just a little bit of time with them. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you soon.